Well, good morning, everybody. This is Nathan Cornett, Director of Business Development with LeBon's Landscaping. I'm here in my peaceful and serene office on a 100-degree day, coming to you to talk about choosing a landscape company. Now, clearly, I want you to choose me. I want you to choose LeBon's Landscaping, but I know that that's not always possible. So I want to provide you with 6 laws to choosing a landscape company, and I think these will be helpful for you in developing your request for proposal and getting a good idea of kind of what you're looking for before you even start. So number one, thou shalt not, kind of was fun saying that, thou shalt not choose a landscape company based solely on the price. Cheapest is not always best. Now, if you're looking for a product, you might want to go to the store and find the cheapest product. But even then, you know that the cheapest pair of shoes probably aren't going to last the longest, and they certainly are not going to be the most comfortable. The same is true with a service provider. You need to change the way that you think and think about it in terms of quality of outcome. What are you looking for at the end of the day? You do not want to have to micromanage your landscape company. You want your landscaping to look really good. So you have to think about it in terms of the quality of the company. Is the team educated? Do they know what they are doing? These are the kinds of things that you want to be able to answer, and it usually costs more money. So while I recognize that budgets are really critical, and while I do recognize that competitive pricing is part of this game, I encourage you to think more about the end result, the best company, not the cheapest alone. Law number 2, ask the company about their safety process. And I know that sounds a little bit funny, and maybe you would think that that wouldn't apply to you, but I think that safety culture says a lot about that company. Are they going to be professional? When they show up to your community, are they thinking about safety? Are they just kind of weed whacking when a 3-year-old little girl is walking to school with her mom? Or are they paying attention to the people around them? Do they wear safety vests? Are they wearing all of their protective equipment such as eye protection, ear protection, gloves, etc.? You should ask about a company's safety program, and you should ask what they think about safety and professionalism. We want all of our guys to know that they are protected and as safe as they possibly can be, and we take safety very seriously. We want them to know that they are professionals, that they are there to be professionals, that they are there as horticulture experts, water experts. Ask about the company's safety program. I think that you'll find that you'll get some good information about that company if they're a top-notch company or if they're just so-so. You know what I mean? Law number 3, request the credentials and certifications. What kind of certifications does this company have? John Maxwell used to say leadership rises and falls on leadership, right? Everything rises and falls. I messed up the quote. I totally messed up the quote. Let me edit this. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So you got to ask, who's got the certifications? Who's training the team? Do the crew leaders have certifications? Are they being trained by people who have certifications? They've been trained in aspects of horticulture, tool usage, water management, pest and disease control, weed control, plant identification. There's a whole list of things that kind of set apart an excellent company with a mediocre company. Law number 4, come on. Don't hire a company that's not insured. Simple, right? Well, sometimes in an effort to save money, there are properties or owners or communities that will just go with the cheapest company. Check to make sure that they're licensed, bonded, and insured. There's just a whole host of litigation problems that can come up. In the blog, there's a link to a website you can check up on your company. Here's a hint. LeBon's is licensed, bonded, and insured. We take that seriously, and we think you should too. Law number 5, thou shalt understand the elements of your request for proposal. The RFP process is so important. And you know what? When you're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5 bids for landscaping or other services, it can be confusing. So we want to encourage you to spend some time beforehand writing out what it is that you are looking for. Now, I want to encourage you to make it specific but not complicated. Specific, but not complicated. I'm a landscaper, all right? It is what it is. I can look through your 32-page RFP, but if it's overly complicated, you may find that you're going to get a lot of different types of proposals in an attempt to meet your need. I encourage you to make your RFP simple but specific as to what you're looking for. We've got a couple of suggestions for you on how to do that, but I encourage you to write it all down, make it simple, ask just a few key questions. It's in the blog. I encourage you to read it. Law number 6, expect your landscape company to communicate to the point where you have to say, you don't need to communicate anymore. You have given me more details than I care to have. And I think a question that's important for you to think about is, oh my gosh, I'm getting emails and blowing up here. Okay, the question that you need to think about is, are they communicating with us in a way that makes sense for us? Or are they expecting us to communicate with them in a way that they think is appropriate, acceptable, whatever? For example, I really like to text. It's probably the worst way to communicate, but I enjoy it. And so I send text messages. You may hate that. And you may say, I need a phone call. A text message is unacceptable. So you should probably just say that. I need you to call me. Now the question is, did I ask you in which method would you prefer to communicate? Or did I just expect you to text with me? This is a good question that you can ask in your process of going through a landscape company. And the way that they communicate now is probably indicative of how they're going to communicate later. I really encourage, in the blog, I encourage a pre-walkthrough. If you can all pull it off, the board, ownership, managers, I encourage you to walk with your landscape companies. This can get complicated, I get it, everybody's busy, but if you can, do it. Because you know what you can do is you can actually you can see what kind of things they point out, you can see what kind of things they're looking at and they see. Does it align with what you see and what you think is important? You can give them tasks. This is one of my favorite things is when I'm walking and someone says, oh yeah, hey, what do you think about this, and this? Fantastic. Would you send me some ideas later? And I say, sure, no problem. I know that that's a test. If I don't send it to them, I probably failed the test. So I encourage you to do that. Give things to do for follow-up, and you can have a pretty good idea. If they don't follow up on the front end, they're probably not going to follow up on the back end. So anyways, those are just a few little suggestions. I wish you the best. Thanks for reading our blog, and thank you for considering LeBon's Landscaping.